For decades, the study of the quantum universe has perplexed and fascinated the world's leading scientists. Abiding by its own set of rules, the quantum world of particles has defied what conventional logic tells us about the impossible. The discovery here presented opens up new frontiers for better understanding the quantum world and to understanding the history of mankind. One of the most remarkable conceptual advances of the past century was the introduction into the physical sciences of a unique phenomenon known as retrocausality, explored by physicists Archibald Wheeler and Richard Feynman. Retrocausality has been mathematically shown to be a useful concept for the understanding of the quantum world and raises questions about the possibility of future events having an influence on the present. Years later, it was formulated into a new scientific framework by physicist Yakir Aronoff. Retrocausality involves the hypothetical phenomenon where a future event can cause observable changes to occur in our present and past world. Remarkably, it was only a few years ago that retrocausality was first shown to exist by experiments proposed by Wheeler and soon after by experiments proposed by Aronoff. It was observed that quantum particles could be affected in the past by experimental interventions done in the present. This influence, it has been thought, could reach many millions of years into the past. These experimental findings were and are shocking because it opens up the possibility that future events could affect the present condition of mankind. The mainstream scientific community is starting, nevertheless, to accept these many experimental results. The idea that events in the future can have ripple effects on its own past can no longer be considered as science fiction. It seems to be a reality, though only in the quantum world. Though retrocausality has been demonstrated on the microcosmic scale, what about on the macrocosmic universe at large? Can the same phenomenon be observed outside the world of quantum mechanics? Could it be observed, for example, in the macrocosmic scale of our solar system? As we are about to show, it can. According to an exciting new discovery led by scientist and inventor Saul Kuliuk, it has been discovered that there is a phenomenon existing in the natural world which shows that the timings of major historical events of the past have pre-existed for at least the last 3,500 years, as shown by the movement of a line of latitude located about 8 degrees above the tropic line of Cancer. Moreover, many of these timings have existed from long before historical times. By calculating the movement of this line over the millennia as it moves southward across the planet, Kuliuk has been able to see how it closely correlates to the timings of historical events as well as to the nature of these events, particularly in the land of Israel. The accuracy with which this line corresponds to historical events could be so precise that the line is able to predict even the exact year of occurrence of a major historical event. If his findings were confirmed, this would make the discovery the first known instance of a natural cosmic phenomenon being able to predict the timings and nature of particular human events in the macrocosmic domain across thousands of years in the past. It would confirm that past events are shaped by the future in ways that allow the future event to take place according to its predefined time and nature. Mr. Kuliuk calls this line the line of heavens.
My name is Saul Kuliuk, and I am an inventor and a scientist. In my career, I started studies in the Faculty of Exact Sciences and later on on the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Buenos Aires. I became a co-inventor and a developer of new non-invasive technologies for the improvement of blood circulation, as well as for brain activity and performance, to help in conditions such as ADHD, ADD, dyslexia, and memory. I first began this work with my late father Samuel Kuliok, and later on with my son and collaborator Jose Kuliok. We were granted several US patents for the achieving of those improvements, and the last one was granted to us in May 2013 for the improvement of the autonomic nervous system.
The history concerning the phenomenon began in July of the year 1975, when Mr. Kuliok presented research work at a National Congress of Torah and Science at Bar Ilan University in Israel. It was a mathematical work about an important part of Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem. It showed that the Hebrew civilization at the time of the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem had a far more advanced understanding of mathematics than the Greeks and the rest of the world could achieve even centuries later. Because these findings ran against the history of science and conventional knowledge, he decided both to explore the topic deeper and not to publish his findings at that time. After profound and extended interdisciplinary studies, Kuliok discovered that the history of mankind seems to be influenced by new kinds of forces and laws that need to be investigated.
Basically, what we discovered from our studies is that the history of the people of Israel seems to have been shaped from the biblical time of Moses and until present days by particular historical events taking place at predefined times. These times are given by a geometrical interrelation between one of the Earth's movements in space and the geography of the biblical land of Israel. By implication, logically, and in agreement with objective historical data, the history of neighboring nations and of the rest of the world up until today are influenced in various degrees by this phenomena, which we have recently discovered. What I mean when I refer to the geography of the biblical land of Israel is the geographical borders of the territories allotted to the tribes of Israel in accordance with the text of the Hebrew Bible. These predefined timings are generated by a planetary geographic interrelation, which we are now going to show and explain.
Before we discuss his findings, Kuliok emphasizes that his discovery is not based on believing in the words of the Hebrew Bible. To understand the objective character of the extraordinary findings here presented does not require any faith at all, any more than believing that we are all affected by gravity. Rather, Kuliok says his discovery is based on geometrical interrelations between biblical statements about geographical borders, making no judgment about their veracity, and the angular value of the axial tilt of our planet and its changes across time. Believing is not the starting point. To present Kuliok's findings, let's take a look at some images. Here we see our planet Earth rotating around its axis. And here we see planet Earth moving around the Sun. Notice that the axis of our planet is tilted in relation to the orbital plane of its movement around the Sun. The angular value of this axial tilt is presently decreasing. In the current year of 2013, the angular value of this inclination is about 23.44 degrees, as shown in this picture. The movement of our planet, which causes this angular change, should not be confused with other planetary movements, as graphically shown in this picture. The geographical location of any point on the Earth's surface is defined by two coordinates, named longitude and latitude. The line which marks the separation between the northern and southern Earth hemispheres is called the equator, and it has a latitude of 0 degrees. In the poles, the latitude is 90 degrees. In this map, we see a line which goes around all the northern hemisphere. This line is called the tropical line of Cancer. It is very important to remember that the latitude of this tropical line has the same identical value as the angular value of the axial tilt of our planet. Therefore, as of 2013, latitude of this tropical line is 23.44 degrees. Changing together with the axial tilt angle, this latitude has been decreasing very, very slowly during the last 7,000 years and will continue to do so, decreasing for at least the next 13,000 years. Therefore, in our historical past, the latitude of this tropical line was greater than the latitude which it has now. We see here an example of two tropical lines, one in the past, and the other is the present tropical line of Cancer to the south of it.
The tropical line of Cancer plays an important role in the understanding of the climate and seasons of our planet, and now also in the discovery of this phenomenon. It is so because if we add a constant angular value of about 8 degrees to the tropical line latitude, a new line is created by us around the planet. And it is by this new line of greater latitude that we obtain geometrical interrelations with the geographical borders of the territorial areas allotted to the tribes of Israel in the Hebrew Bible. These interrelations make predefined timings for certain historical events, as well as predicting the nature of those events. To this new latitude line, we have given the name of the line of heavens. The reason of why we add this approximately 8 degrees is not arbitrary, not at all. It is a very precise angular value, first discovered in the mathematical work that I presented in the year 1975 at the Torah and Science Congress. This angular value is part of the geometrical design of a vessel I discovered to exist in the first Temple of Jerusalem, as already explained in the Maryland University presentation. Presently, anyone can see the mathematical formulations by which I arrived to this angle of 8 degrees approximately. And also everybody can see the roots in the Hebrew tradition that shows that this vessel existed. By this mathematics, we define the shape and dimension of this vessel, and everything can be looked by everyone in our website. The remarkable ways by which the line of heavens geometrically interrelate with the territorial borders of the tribes of Israel are now shown.
The added angular value of about 8 degrees has been mathematically calculated to be 8.0089599731 degrees. In this map, we see two different locations of the line of heavens, which is an east-west latitude line. The map shows the territorial areas allotted to the tribes of Israel according to the Hebrew Bible, depicted in different colors. The line of heavens, more to the north, is located at the latitude corresponding to the time for when the people of Israel under Joshua crossed the Jordan River to conquer the Promised Land. It is generally understood that this crossing took place in the year 1436 BCE. When using a precise mathematical formula to calculate the position of the line over time, calculations show that at that biblical time, the line of heavens was located very close to Jericho. This is in full agreement with the location given by the Hebrew Bible for Israel's crossing point of the Jordan River. The line of heavens, which we see below it, is depicted to the south of the city of Ein Gedi of the Dead Sea in Israel. This is its present location in the year 2013. We will now see examples of how borders of a tribe's territorial area geometrically interrelate with the line of heavens, which, as it is graphically shown, is continuously moving southwards. It has a slow speed of about 14.5 meters per year. Notice that the border line of this example represents a natural boundary, such as rivers or valleys. Beside natural borders, the Hebrew Bible also gives the name of a biblical city to demarcate the boundaries of a territory. The actual border will include an extension of this territory around the city, as shown by the interrupted lines of the graph, to be explained in detail on the website. Due to its southern movement, we now see that the line of heavens will reach the northern border of this territory. Sometime later, the line of heavens will be located well inside this territory. Notice that between the last two portions of the line, the length of the line's segment portion inside the territory has greatly increased. As time passes, the length of this segment will decrease. By continuing in its southern movement, it will reach the southern borders of this territory and then leave this tribal territory, entering into a new territory which could belong to a tribe of Israel. Because of its continuous southwards movement, due to continuous change of our planetary axial tilt, the line of heavens will change its intersections points with the geographical borders of a tribe. By knowing the geographical latitude of any point along a biblical territorial border, we can use a modern mathematical formula, well known in the astronomical sciences and shown on our website, to give us the precise time at which the line of heavens was, is, or will be crossing that border point. The latitude of this intersection point corresponds with predefined times in the past, present, or future. It is during the times corresponding to certain predefined points in the territorial borders, as later explained, that certain historical events take place.
The implications that this discovery has on our understanding of history is enormous. It suggests that a new kind of historical phenomena has been unveiled. This discovery can be formulated in two ways. One is in its general form. The other as an enunciation of the set of rules predefining the time of occurrence and character of this historical phenomena. Before the enunciation, nevertheless, it is required to make clear, explicit, what we mean by people of Israel in both formulations of this discovery.
The phrase, people of Israel, refers to the descendants of all the tribes of Israel, meaning from the tribes of the past kingdom of Judah and also from the tribes of the past kingdom of Israel. Today's Jewish people are understood to be the descendants of the former. The remaining tribes are the 10 lost tribes, considered to be living today among the populations of the world. The implications resulting from the way in which the line of heavens intersects with the borders of the tribes of Israel are astonishing. In its general form, what has been found can be stated as follows. It has been discovered that when the line of heavens enters and or leaves a biblical territory allotted to a tribe of Israel, historical events develop in such a way that they will bring about significant changes in the numerical presence of the people of Israel in that territory or more tribal territories. In its set of rules form, the main rules found to govern the line of heaven predictions are: 1. When the line of heavens enters the biblical territory of a tribe, historical events will develop in a direction leading to a decrease in the population of this territory, which may also decrease the population of other tribal territories in the biblical land of Israel. These decreases occur due to destructions, wars, exile of their inhabitants, or combinations of the above and other catastrophes. 2. When the line of heavens leaves a biblical territory of a tribe, historical events will develop in a direction leading to an increase in the population of this territory, which may also increase the population of other tribal territories in the biblical land of Israel. These are positive developments and include significant building construction, renewed peace, general revival, immigration, or combinations of these developments. 3. When the line of heavens enters into a tribal territory, while simultaneously leaving other tribal territories, there are combined developments, including catastrophes for the territory the line enters into, and positive change for the territory which the line has left. 4. When the line of heaven's segment length inside a tribal territory decreases quickly, positive change develops. When the segment length inside a territory increases fast, negative phenomena develop. In summarizing these findings, Saul Kuliuk has found the following to hold true. A. There are kinds of historical events in the past, present, or in the future, for which their time of occurrence is predefined and predicted by the location of the line of heavens. This timing seems to be affected little by the social, economic, religious, political, or cultural conditions that preceded them. Nevertheless, their influence can be seen in the relatively small difference between the predefined and actual timings of those events. B. The negative or positive character or nature of these historical events are also predefined, including event types such as exile, immigration, war, and peace. In other words, these events are not dependent on ongoing human affairs, but rather they are following a predefined pattern, with knowledge of the line of heaven being the only method capable of predicting their occurrence. By following all the above definitions, more than 30 predefined timings for historical events of this kind have been found over the last 3,500 years, from the moment when the tribes of Israel set out to conquer the Promised Land west of the Jordan River until the present day. One may wonder what some examples of these historic events at predefined timings include. According to Saul Kuliuk's research, here is just a few of the historical events he has found to correspond to the timings generated by the line of heavens. A full list and explanations will be found on our website. Around the year 722 BCE. In 722 BCE, the kingdom of Israel is conquered by the Assyrian army. Its 10 tribes went to exile. They then become the 10 lost tribes. It is at this time that the line of heavens fully entered the territory allotted to the tribe of Reuven, as it is shown in this map. Exactly in the year 538 BCE. In this year of 538 BCE, the Babylonian exile for the Jews of the kingdom of Judah comes to an end. The same year, the line of heavens leaves the Holy Mountain, where the first temple and biblical Jerusalem were located. Jeremiah's prophecy could be a part of these discovered predefined timings. Around the year 1843 CE. Approximately at this time, a kind of Christian Zionism starts in England, paving the way for Theodor Herzl's foundation of Jewish Zionism years later. At this time, the line of heaven started to leave, for the first time ever, the territory of the biblical land of Israel, by starting to leave the territory of the kingdom of Israel. It did so by starting to cross south to the past northern confluence of the Arnon River with the Dead Sea, as shown in this map. The Arnon River was the southern natural border of the tribe of Reuben, and therefore the southern boundary of the past kingdom of Israel. Between the years 1945 to 1951 CE, in this time period, there was a great Jewish revival and massive return to the land of Israel, along with international approval of a Jewish state in Palestine. The line of heaven segment was decreasing very quickly, as it can be seen in this map of the Arnon River. The Israel Independence Declaration can be seen as another historical event in accordance with the predefined timings of the cosmic line of heavens. The accuracy of the timing of these events, and especially those for the year 538 BCE, is nothing less than remarkable. According to Kuluk, the study of the line of heavens may produce the groundwork for the understanding of prophecy in the near future.
Indeed, this discovery of not only predefined timings, but also of the negative or positive character of an historical event may have an enormous impact, influence on the way we understand prophecy. Regarding now the year 538 before Common Era as an exact date, we need first to know, or perhaps to remember, that biblical Jerusalem, to which many prophecies in the Hebrew Bible refer, and the first and second temple of Jerusalem were all located in a mountain, receiving the name of Holy Mountain in the Hebrew Bible.
In these studies, it was found that this holy mountain is a separate biblical territory in its own right, when, in its southern movement, the line of heavens will abandon this north-south oriented mountain. It will do so by first crossing the mountain spot with the lowest altitude in relation to the sea level. This drawing shows that the southern end of a mountain will be its most southern area spot, having the lowest altitude above sea level. As explained earlier, when the line leaves a biblical territory, a great revival will start to take place in this territory. Hence, Jerusalem and the temple will be reconstructed, and the line crossed this lowest altitude spot precisely in the year 538 BCE. But the ongoing research suggests that it is even more incredible than that. We see here the contour lines of a topographical map showing the lines of equal altitude above the sea level, in meters, of the southern part of the Holy Mountain. To the north of this topographic map, we see heights of more than 700 meters. We now focus our attention on the southern mountain spot area, with the lowest altitude above sea level, where we can see a lower altitude of 620 meters. This area of the mountain borders with the Kidron Valley on the east and is located only a few meters before the Hinnom Valley to its south. We see now the line of heavens for the year 539 BCE. Notice that the line of heavens for the year 538 BCE is located slightly to the south and crossing precisely the lower spot area of this mountain, which is found close to the Hinnom Valley. We show now an aerial view of the southern border of what was once biblical Jerusalem, the city of David. Here is another aerial view of the neighboring area to its south. Biblical Jerusalem was located on the eastern side of the southern slope of this mountain. Notice also the location of the 539 BCE and 538 BCE line of heavens shown before in the topographic map. They are now depicted together with a north-south line, representing the terrestrial meridian crossing the lowest altitude area of the Holy Mountain, shown previously in the topographic map. This terrestrial meridian can now also be seen in the topographic map, intersecting the 538 BCE line of heavens on the lower spot area of the Holy Mountain and crossing the southern end of this mountain. What we are now seeing is an aerial view of the Dome of the Rock, presently located in that part of the Holy Mountain which is known as the Temple Mount of Jerusalem. It was built above a mountain rock which, according to many opinions, is the foundation stone upon which the Ark of the Covenant was located in the Holy of Holies in the first Temple of Jerusalem, also known as the Solomon's Temple. We now again see the same aerial view of the Temple Mount, but now depicting the meridian line explained in the topographic map, crossing its lowest area at the southern end of this mountain. Amazingly, this meridian line crosses exactly over the foundation stone located below the Dome of the Rock. What's more, if we see again the aerial view of the Dome of the Rock, we find depicted the location of the line of heavens at the time of the beginning of the Babylonian Empire domain over all nations on this part of the world in 609 BCE. We can also see the location of the line of heavens for the beginning of the Jerusalem tribulations, 608 BCE. It should be mentioned the extraordinary fact that the two line of heavens for these two fundamental historical events were also crossing the exact spot in the Temple Mount where the Dome of the Rock is located. Moreover, we should pay close attention to the fact that these two lines were crossing above the foundation stone precisely 70 years before the 539 BCE and the 538 BCE lines of heavens respectively. Now, taking into consideration that the line of heavens travels south about 14.5 meters per year, we can see that the possible error in what has been explained up until now in regards to the Holy Mountain amounts to only about 1 year. Furthermore, the axial tilt and the rate of change in the angular value of this axial tilt of our planet both happen to be the exact ones for obtaining all of these correspondences. They also have the required values for the line of heavens to travel south from the foundation stone until the southern edge of this mountain in precisely 70 years. These remarkable findings should make us wonder how the billions of years in the formation of our solar system and its present balance of forces have combined so precisely for this fact to be possible. On top of it, the small angular value in excess of 8 degrees and the constant angular value which is added to the latitude of the tropical line of Cancer in order to obtain the latitude of the line of heavens represents the exact amount that this latitude changes in nearly 70 years.
These facts speak by themselves, showing a really extraordinary correspondence between geographic key locations in the Holy Mountain, their altitude, their latitude, the corresponding times date of fundamental historical events for the people of Israel, in correspondence with the axis tilting angle of our planet at that time, and the rate of change of this axial tilt of our planet. All this combined together in an incredible way. All of it is in connection with the first temple, or Solomon's Temple, and biblical Jerusalem, which means the city of David. In view of all that, I challenge anyone who may say that what has been shown here is the result of just pure chance, just coincidences, against our opinion that it should be considered the manifestation of a new kind of processes that is operating in our planet.
To better appreciate the relevance of this discovery, it is important to keep in mind that the angular value added to obtain the line of heavens is not an arbitrary one. This precise angular value is part of the design of a first temple vessel mathematically discovered based on data from the ancient Hebrew tradition. The existence of this vessel is fully supported by various written statements found in this tradition, including the Hebrew Bible, the Babylonian Talmud, the Jerusalem Talmud, the Midrash Rabbah, and Rashi's commentary. On our website, you can find more information on this vessel and the mathematical demonstration supporting the exact angular value added to the latitude of the tropical line of Cancer in order to obtain the latitude of the line of heavens. Indeed, the recently discovered vessel of the First Temple has the shape of a spherical segment, as shown here. In a cross-section of this vessel, we can see the K angular value in its design. As indicated previously, this K angular value was disclosed almost 40 years ago, in the year 1975.
What I have shown here is a series of objective findings in the physical domain of our solar system. They can be measured, therefore, in space and also in time, because they are out there. This is not a theory or a philosophical or religious construct. The implications of this discovery can hardly be exaggerated. They will have a significant influence and impact in almost every aspect of our human endeavors and also conventional knowledge. And it will be necessarily so, because it forces us to reconsider our current notions about time. I'm not talking about the time in the microcosmic world and the world of the atom in quantum mechanics. I refer to the time in our daily lives. Dramatically, the very nature of time is here at stake. To track down the influence of our future on past events, it will now be required to review all anthropological and historical studies, a reconsideration of the laws of physics, a new understanding of biological and brain processes, and perhaps a new outlook of religion. In our view, new kinds of laws will be needed to be uncovered and added to those which are known today. At the very least, we have shown here a macrocosmic phenomena manifesting the sort of retro-causality shown to exist in the quantum world.
The discovery of the line of heavens is an exciting and frightening finding about the existence of predefined timings for the occurrence of certain collective human events in the macrocosmic world of our solar system. What effects will it have on our understanding of history or of modern science? How can we explain its nature and its ability to predict historical events? One thing remains certain, that this line of heavens has influenced and continues to influence the very course of human civilization. These findings raise several questions which we must ask. Are the descendants of the tribes of Israel returning to the biblical promised land according to predefined timings? Are these predefined timings following a kind of cosmic pattern that will reach completion during the next century? Indeed, the significant amount of data obtained from the movement of the discovered line of heavens in the last 3,500 years appears to suggest that the answer is yes. For more information about the existence of the discovery presented here, as well as other kinds of particular predefined timings, and of future physical and mind processes influencing the past and present history of our human civilization, please visit our website at www.futurephenomena.com.